Let me tell you guys about BellyUpSports. BellyUpSports is the internet sports bar. Go ahead and check out their website, www.bellyupsports.com, to read some great articles from great writers all across the country, from hockey, baseball, golf, soccer, you name it. BellyUpSports is the premier, not your average website. Once things get figured out with the front three of Real Madrid, it is going to be what everyone expects Real Madrid to be. And obviously, the big signing that came from Real Madrid was the addition of Kylian Mbappe. And I mean, everyone's highly anticipated the young 17-year-old Endrick. And I mean, I think obviously everyone's like, oh man, look how this team's going to look at the attack. Like, who's going to be the odd man left out? Is Mbappe going to play in the middle, or is he going to play off in the wings? And I mentioned it in an episode a while back that the way that I can only see that this Mbappe addition works is if Mbappe plays the role that Karim Benzema played. So if you guys don't necessarily remember too much about Karim Benzema, which I think that's bonkers if that's the case, but Karim Benzema never really necessarily stayed central majority of the time. He would veer off to the wings. So I think we've seen it work as Real Madrid fan. If you're a Madridista, you've seen it work before. You've seen it where you know Benzema goes off to the wing, and there's that fluidity, and I think that right now that's what's being worked on right now at Real Madrid, because of the fact that Mbappe, especially more so than not, in Mbappe at PSG, he was playing on the wing. And so he's used to being on the wing. He prefers being on the wing, which honestly is on that left side where Vinny is at. I think once the communication is figured out between him and between Mbappe and Vinny, I think that this attack gets very potent. I mean, if there's one thing I could say about Real Madrid right now, it's very free roaming. The way that they play. I mean, last game, I mean, Rodrigo was literally everywhere in the field, it seemed like. So I think that I think a lot of people saying that this is gonna not work out for because of Mbappe. I don't think so, because Real Madrid's always been very free roaming with how their team works. Obviously the goal is to make sure that there's somebody that covers that spot once that player does choose to free roam, and I think that that's kind of where right now where the issues are between him, and I would say specifically Mbappe and Vinicius, because like I said, both of them prefer to be on that left side. I think once they can figure out, okay, Mbappe is here, I gotta get down the middle, or is Rodrigo down there? Things like that. I think once they figure that out, uh, Real Madrid is going to be the team that everybody is worried about, and with that attack, and then on top of all that, coming off the bench, Endrick, which scores on his debut, comes in for Mbappe, and and does what everyone was hoping he would do. I know there was a lot of slander going on with him because of how poor he was playing for Brazil during the summer. I believe the preseason tour wasn't necessarily looking too good for him. But when it matters, they got the job done, and so that's the great thing about, I guess, about this edition. And so I think once all the kinks are figured out, and I mean, despite that, Real Madrid is still a pretty solid team in all facets of the game. So I don't think that necessarily there's too much to worry about. But I'm just saying, when everything starts clicking for Real Madrid, which I'm feeling like it's getting, they're almost there at where they need to figure out where they need to be, and all of that. But once all that's figured out, Real Madrid is going to be a very, very dangerous team. Not only in La Liga, but also once we get to Champions League as well. So I don't think, like I said, I felt like this could be one of those weird years in La Liga, and I mean, I still feel that way. I mean, but I think when it comes to teams like Real Madrid and Barcelona, despite whatever question marks they may have entered into from the offseason, which obviously Real Madrid's question was how would Mbappe fit into the tactics of Ancelotti. Um, And then obviously for Barcelona is how to deal with their financial how will Hansi Flick handle with the limit finances that Barcelona has. But I think at the end of the day, what people don't realize what makes these two teams what they are is because they have players that come up big in key moments. I think last game you saw Federico Valverde stepping up to be that guy. You saw Brahim Diaz stepping up in that moment, Endrick stepping up. Over at Barcelona, Lamine Yamal comes up big. So I mean, I think when it comes to these two teams, specifically these two teams, because like I said, they're the ones that are getting more discussions on it. No offense to Atletico Madrid, but I think once those they find ways just out of the fact that they have players of sheer brilliance. And I think like I said, if you're a Madridista and I don't think I don't think there's any Madridistas that are necessarily worried, but they just know once this front three of Rodrigo, Mbappe, and Vinicius, once they are gelling, this team is going to be a problem for a lot of teams. So that's the part I can't wait. I think once again, once Vinny and Mbappe can find a way to figure out, if one of them goes on the wing, who goes over, where the other player needs to be. I think that this team is going to be very much a problem, especially when you have players like those two, and of course Rodrigo as well. But in the meantime, you still have key players like Valverde, Brahim Diaz, who can really come in and at least keep the games in a good place for the team till they figure it out. So that's where I'm not worried about Real Madrid. So and like I said, once it's all figured out, this team is going to be a problem.